At the most basic level, what we do is we help publishers to make a lot of additional revenue with video. So we're a publisher-first company. We're an SSP ad-serving platform. And essentially, what we've attempted to do is fix a lot of the problems we've seen with pre-roll video by actually creating a completely new form of video advertising that sits within the editorial content on Tier 1 pubs.
Okay. So you are very interesting in the sense that you are supply side, which is the opposite of most of the folks that we've gotten to talk to today. So I'd love to get your insight into what you think is really exciting in 2015 from the publisher standpoint.
Okay, well, we've probably talked a lot about programmatic and platforms, and if we're talking about publishers that have a television presence, addressable TV, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to keep this extremely basic. And what we're really excited about in 2015 is, what do publishers want? What can help publishers to generate more revenue? What can help publishers to create value for their user base and not try to detract value with giving them advertising? So basically, the publishing community has been in a very interesting, I'd say, pivot point over the last couple of years, because what they've seen is that video with pre-roll is their highest CPM products. It's the products that the marketplace, in terms of brands, want the most of. But their issue is that unless, again, you are a video-focused company, video production company, it's very hard to actually generate a lot of volume, right? So if you're Forbes, The Economist, and Reuters, these guys are not TV production companies, right? These guys are editorial companies. So how do they get more inventory? Because they're always sold out of the inventory they actually have. So solving for that problem is the basis of what Teads is, and it's really taken off significantly in our video units for these publishers, which we deem outstream video units. So they're video units that occur outside of your typical video stream experience.
So what was the impetus of why you guys found the space that you're in? Like, so when you think about the evolution of why you got to where you are and why that is underserved or being served poorly by others, kind of what led you to this point?
Well, I'll tell you in terms of just a couple numbers for the company, right? So I joined and launched the US business a little over a year and a half ago. And at that time, I think we were with 12 offices in 7 different countries. So we created some specific products that I mentioned, these outstream in-read products that I mentioned to you. And now, a year and a half later, we have 25 offices in 18 countries. So that will give you an idea about, from the publisher side, how popular the concept has been of, again, it's very simple. We're helping publishers to make a significant amount of additional revenue with our platform through video advertising. And so that's really kind of why we did it. And it's very rare in our industry that's filled with a lot of intelligent people and interesting platforms to identify an overriding problem for both publishers and for brands, i.e. the lack of top-tier video inventory, and solve for it. That's what we do.
So when you look at, so premium video of the things that we talk about, right? So premium is a word that could mean any number of things depending on what it is. So when you talk about having video inventory, when you talk with advertisers and brands and they're creating this, are you creating this from the landscape of like bringing content creation from the TV side, or are you looking at this from more of a UGC, or what do you find to be most successful for brands?
Well, it depends on what the brand wants, and every brand is different. I mean, our focus is on, and you said the word premium. I'm not a fan of the word premium just because I feel like it's really overused. So I prefer top tier or tier 1 publishers. I think that that's very clear, and that's what the focus is at Teads. So a lot of brands want to take the experience that they have in television and do the same thing online, meaning they want to be associated with really good content, right? Professionally produced content. The issue with the online space is that only 4% of all content is actually studio produced. Most of it's UGC out there. Right. So it's very hard to find any scale in this top tier environment. So from a brand perspective, well, I'll say this. One thing that we were talking about a little bit earlier is that Teads, we are a publisher-first business, meaning we're here to create value for publishers. And we do that by creating fantastic ad units that are consumer-friendly. And then the brands are the ones that really reap the benefits of this, because now they have a lot of top-tier video inventory on the top-tier sites, and they're able to execute more how they would traditionally want to and say, we want to associate our 15, 30, or 1 minute or 2 minute brand video with top-tier content, which Teads now allows them to do.
So who's a brand, and it could be a client that you've worked with, that you think is doing it really well right now?
You know, actually there's a number of different brands that we work with that I feel like are extremely strong. And a lot of them have taken to this new type of marketplace. I mean, our customer retention is roughly 75% because our performance is so good. A couple other things I should note about our products is, and this is great for consumers, is that all of our videos are fully skippable. So just like if a consumer's on YouTube, there's a skip button that shows up from the first second, and they can always just skip the ad, right? And that is a really good customer experience. Also, our ad units pause when they're not on the person's screen, or over half isn't on the person's screen. It solves for the entire viewability question.
Absolutely.
So brands that are doing it well, or anybody that's coming onto our platform, frankly. You know, Energizer is a very big client of ours. We've done a lot of work with Heineken in the past through the years. And we've worked with a lot of very large technology companies, very large finance companies, such as Chase and Bank of America. It's an endless list of companies that are getting onto the platform simply because the methodology is better.
And so you use the word performance, which I think is really important. So with the platform, you know, how substantial is the performance metrics that you can actually report on as far as getting people to really buy into the concept and being able to deliver, you know, that retention rate and keep that retention rate?
Sure. I mean, there's very basic performance metrics that I don't really necessarily think tell the story, like a CTR, but it's something that brand managers really like. So our CTR is 3 to 5% on average with our units, again, because we're giving the user the choice, because they can scroll past the unit, it stops playing, they can skip out of it, right? So we're only getting lean-in consumers. And then we like to do brand studies with the majority of our campaigns. So what I really subscribe to is purchase intent. It's brand association. It's, are you going to recommend this brand to a friend? And when we put Teads up against our competitive set or against industry benchmarks, every single time at this point, it maybe won't be every single time in the future, but every single report I've seen, we're outperforming all industry benchmarks in this. And again, it's because with our ad units, they're consumer first, like I said before, so we give the consumer a choice. If you give the consumer a choice, your brand's going to perform better.
Great. So last question, one company other than your own in 2015 that you think is really interesting?
Google. Yeah, actually, there's a company. Google's always interesting. There's a company called Run that actually it's a mobile DSP, and I feel like mobile DSPs we're going to hear a lot more of, and they have just a very slick technology, just a very interesting business methodology, and they're doing some very cool things in mobile video.
Cool.
Yeah, great.